Title: Adolf Hitler, a historical examination of his rise and fall. The story of Adolf Hitler is one of ambition, manipulation, and destruction. Few figures in history have had as profound and devastating an impact on the world as Hitler, whose rise to power led to World War II and the Holocaust, resulting in the deaths of millions. His story is a chilling testament to the dangers of totalitarianism, propaganda, and extremist ideology. This book seeks to explore Hitler's life in its entirety, from his obscure beginnings to his catastrophic end, by analyzing the key events, ideologies, and decisions that shaped his rule. Adolf Hitler was born on April 20th, 1889, in Braunau am Inn, a small Austrian town near the German border. His father, Alois Hitler, was a strict and domineering customs official who had a history of violent behavior. Alois, an illegitimate child, had taken the surname Hitler from his stepfather, and he spent much of his life in government service. Hitler's mother, Clara, was a devout Catholic and provided young Adolf with warmth and affection, though she largely deferred to Alois's authoritarian rule. Hitler's early years were marked by frequent moves and instability. His father's strict discipline often clashed with Adolf's more sensitive and rebellious nature. While he excelled in subjects such as history and art, he struggled with authority and had little patience for structured education. The death of his younger brother, Edmund, in 1900 deeply affected Hitler, reinforcing his introverted tendencies and fueling his attachment to German nationalism. As he reached adolescence, Hitler developed an interest in German history and the idea of a united Germanic empire. He was fascinated by stories of military conquests and revered figures such as Otto von Bismarck. However, his academic struggles led to tensions with his father, who expected him to follow a career in civil service. When Alois died in 1903, Hitler's life took a drastic turn. In 1907, Hitler moved to Vienna, hoping to pursue a career in art. He applied twice to the prestigious Academy of Fine Arts, but was rejected both times due to his lack of formal training. This rejection, coupled with his mother's death from cancer, left him destitute and directionless. He lived in homeless shelters and worked odd jobs, all while immersing himself in radical political ideas. During his years in Vienna, Hitler was exposed to the writings of German nationalist thinkers and to the growing anti-Semitic movement led by figures such as Karl Lueger, the mayor of Vienna. He began to develop his own beliefs about race, nationalism, and the need for a strong, authoritarian government. His time in Vienna laid the foundation for the extreme ideology he would later impose on Germany. When World War I broke out in 1914, Hitler eagerly enlisted in the German army, seeing it as an opportunity to prove his loyalty to Germany. He served as a messenger on the Western Front and was involved in several battles, including the Battle of the Somme. His experience in the trenches hardened him, and he became deeply committed to the idea of German superiority. Despite showing bravery, Hitler never rose above the rank of corporal. He was wounded twice and received the Iron Cross for his service, an award he would later use to bolster his reputation. However, the war's end in 1918 devastated him. Germany's defeat, coupled with the harsh terms of the Treaty of Versailles, convinced Hitler that Germany had been betrayed by internal enemies, Jews, communists, and politicians, whom he accused of stabbing the nation in the back. After the war, Germany was in chaos. The Weimar Republic struggled to maintain order amid economic hardship, political extremism, and social unrest. Hitler, jobless and disillusioned, found solace in nationalist groups. In 1919, he joined the German Workers' Party, DAP, a small right-wing extremist group that promoted nationalist and anti-Semitic ideas. His skill as an orator quickly set him apart, and he soon became the party's most influential figure. Under Hitler's leadership, the DAP was rebranded as the National Socialist German Workers' Party, NSDAP, commonly known as the Nazi Party. He introduced the swastika as its symbol and created a paramilitary wing, the SA, stormtroopers, to intimidate political opponents. His fiery speeches attracted thousands of supporters, particularly veterans, nationalists, and those disillusioned by the Weimar government.
In the aftermath of World War I, Germany found itself crippled by the Treaty of Versailles, facing crippling reparations, hyperinflation, and a shattered economy. The Weimar Republic, Germany's new democratic government, struggled to maintain stability. Unemployment soared, and the country's economic and social fabric unraveled, leading to widespread disillusionment. In this chaotic environment, Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party capitalized on the general unrest. They promised economic recovery, the restoration of national pride, and a return to order. This message resonated with many Germans, particularly the middle class, who had been most affected by the economic collapse. Hitler's use of propaganda was masterful, tapping into the frustrations of the population and offering a simple scapegoat: Jews, communists, and the Weimar government. The turning point came during the Great Depression, which exacerbated Germany's economic woes. Hitler's speeches, fueled by anger and resentment, attracted increasing support. By 1932, the Nazi Party became the largest political force in the Reichstag, German parliament, and Hitler, now a national figure, seemed poised to take control. The appointment of Hitler as chancellor. Despite their electoral success, the Nazis still did not have enough seats to form a majority government. However, in January 1933, President Paul von Hindenburg, under pressure from conservative elites who believed they could control Hitler, appointed him as Chancellor of Germany. This move marked the beginning of the end for the Weimar Republic. Once in power, Hitler wasted no time in consolidating his position. His first action was to call for new elections. On February 27, 1933, the Reichstag building was set on fire, and the Nazis immediately blamed communists, though evidence for this claim was dubious. Hitler used the fire as a pretext to push through the Reichstag fire decree, which suspended civil liberties and allowed for the arrest of political opponents, particularly communists. Following the Reichstag fire, the Nazis moved quickly to eliminate all political opposition. Hitler's next critical step was the passage of the Enabling Act on March 23, 1933. This law gave Hitler the authority to enact laws without the Reichstag's approval, essentially granting him dictatorial powers. The Enabling Act passed with overwhelming support after the communists had been removed from the parliament, and many socialists were either arrested or intimidated. With this legal mandate, Hitler systematically dismantled Germany's democratic institutions. Political parties were banned, the press was censored, and trade unions were dissolved. The Nazi Party became the only political organization in the country, consolidating control over every aspect of life in Germany. The Night of the Long Knives. By 1934, Hitler's position as Führer, leader, was largely unchallenged. However, internal power struggles within the Nazi Party remained. The SA, Sturmabteilung, led by Ernst Röhm, was a powerful paramilitary force that had helped Hitler rise to power. But Röhm's ambition to lead the German military threatened Hitler's control over the armed forces. Fearing that the SA might become too powerful, Hitler orchestrated a purge on June 30, 1934, known as the Night of the Long Knives. Röhm and other SA leaders were arrested and executed, consolidating Hitler's control over both the Nazi Party and the German military. Shortly after this purge, President Hindenburg died on August 2, 1934. Hitler merged the office of Chancellor and President, declaring himself Führer und Reichskanzler, leader and Chancellor, and thus becoming the absolute dictator of Germany. The cult of personality. One of the hallmarks of Nazi rule, was the creation of a pervasive cult of personality around Hitler. Through extensive propaganda, including posters, films, and radio broadcasts, the Nazi regime portrayed Hitler as the savior of Germany. His image was carefully crafted to appear as both a man of the people and a larger-than-life figure capable of leading Germany to greatness. Hitler was seen as a father figure who would guide the German people to a glorious future. Joseph Goebbels, Hitler's minister of propaganda, played a central role in cultivating this image. The Nazi regime took control of all forms of media, ensuring that every message reinforced the party's ideology. Radio broadcasts, newspapers, films, and speeches all became tools of indoctrination, portraying Hitler as a messianic figure whose vision for Germany was unquestionable. We will continue this journey. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We enjoy history,